Hey everyone, this is Evan from Morethanmeetstheseguys, coming to bring you a little message that I think needs to be expressed, you know, succinctly here. So I'll do my best. We are a podcast that has started from the ground up, and I personally am someone who has loved Transformers all his life. They're important to me. The mythos, the toys, the whole legacy that's brought to my life. My friends on here all have their love as well. Boo, Andres, even Ed, I think he's coming around. But if you could do us a huge favor, and if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, that's huge. And share the link with friends. And if you're listening on podcast, give us a good review if you wouldn't mind. And send us a message, whatever, come to the Discord, whatever you want to do. We really enjoy doing this, but also we've come to really enjoy engagement with fellow fans and fellow people who just find the podcast. So, and in closing, I want to say thanks for being here and, help us spread the message. All right. Thanks. Bye. Hey, everyone. Welcome to More Than Meets These Guys. This podcast is a journey through Transformers from the beginning of the animated series with two old friends coming at it from different perspectives. Together, we will go episode by episode with the occasional extra to look at how the show holds up or if it's a trap of nostalgia. We'll be looking at all things involved in the episode, whether they were real-world factors that crept into the writing or if the episode is typical afternoon cartoon fodder. I'm Evan. I'm a lifelong fan who's familiar with all aspects of the franchise. Well, Ed here, he's familiar with Transformers, but there's really nothing he ever got into. So thanks for joining us. And how you doing, dude?
Oh man, I'm broken. Yeah, I'm having a rough week. My age is catching up with my body at this point, and I'm just falling apart. It's I'm in constant, like, every limb hurts. I'm in constant pain.
That's
But that's not important. That's not important. What's important here is I need to know how much expose you listen to. Since a lot we talked about expose and In Vogue and the Mary Jane Girls last week. Did you listen to? So something I found out that I didn't realize.
okay.
And that little micro genre of music is like, because I've always just called it like girl, like R&B or whatever.
Yeah.
But it had a name though. Like in the 80s, it had a name. It was called high energy, but it was high
NRG.
high energy.
Dude, that's a great segue. There is
Yeah.
a band on the Transformers the movie 1986 soundtrack named NRG.
No kidding. Are they high energy?
Yeah, it's pretty high energy, but now it's very hair metal high energy. But
Oh
anyway,
no, that's not high. That's not like high
no,
energy.
it's energy.
It's like, okay, like the song "Let the Music Play" by Shannon. That's kind of the go-to of that genre or whatever. But I listened to a whole bunch of expose this week, but see, here's where I got weird though, is like I just kind of put their like a mix of like their videos on, because like they're like my guilty pleasure favorite band of that.
I get that.
Like I legitimately dig that music, even though I realize it's not in my wheelhouse. It's not my thing. I mean, look at me. I mean, if you're not watching on YouTube out there, you need to be watching YouTube and look at what a dirt bag I look like.
I was going to say anything, but yeah.
I'm to pull back the curtain here, to real world factors here. I just got back from a jiu-jitsu class, and I am a sweaty mess. And but yeah,
I gotta hand it to you. At least you're not like in the mid 20s Ed with the bowl cut like bangs and stuff.
That was a Jackie Chan mullet I had. It was a kung fu mullet that I had back then.
Is that what you're gonna call it?
Yeah, a kung fu mullet. Yeah, I was trying to go for Jackie Chan from I wanted Jackie Chan's hair from Drunken Master. That was the exact haircut I was going for.
Pull the curtain back a bit. We used to like all hang like kind of our friend had a comic shop. We used to kind of like hang there and game and stuff. And at one point, there's someone said something about the Ed uniform. It was a white T-shirt and like camo shorts.
Camo shorts, yeah, camo or green shorts, yeah.
That was that was the Ed, and like, you had that haircut, man, the Jackie Chan mullet.
Jackie Chan, the kung fu mullet. But but anyway, so I put these expose videos on, and I just put like a playlist on while I was working, and they just play through every video. And like I hadn't seen this video since like I was probably like 15 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I remember expose just being like these like hot and like hot 80s women, and like I'm watching it, and I'm like, They just kind of look like TV moms. I mean, they're not like unattractive women, but like I remember
Claire
being
Huxtable.
yeah, well, yeah. The lead singer looks kind of Huxtable-esque, but then there's like one of the backups because there was three women in that group.
Yeah.
Like and like the lead lady looked, she was kind of Huxtable-esque. But then the one is like Italian, and like she's probably like most conventionally hot of the three. But then like there's the other one that just looks like she just looks like that over eager like mom, like a growing pains
Okay.
mom.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, huh, like that, like that's it, like that's all you got, like just it's like you're just your TV mom, which is it's fine, but I mean it really wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting like these like Miami Vice women.
Well, yeah. Honestly,
And
man. Okay, I know you have a huge aesthetic love for like the Miami Vice kind of feel.
I do.
If you guys don't know, Ed usually like he does a aesthetic of the day, and there's a huge portion of that was very Miami Vice. So I could totally get that draw to that. And so yeah, I mean, I totally get that. And there's some things like I mean, guilty pleasures are a kind of a weird thing. I mean, let's be honest. Honestly, Transformers are a guilty pleasure of mine.
Are
And
they a guilty pleasure? I don't think they're a guilty pleasure because it's not like I don't know that you can really count that, because it's like when I say guilty pleasure, I mean something that like it's bad, but like you
oh,
still
that's a
like.
good point. I mean, well, this current episode we're going to go on is a guilty pleasure. But speaking of that, but you're a friend, our friend JB. He loves the movie Kroll. That
He likes a
that is
lot of bad movies.
he
He
does.
likes a ton of conventionally bad movies,
Yeah,
and yeah,
Kroll
Kroll's
is
real
is a
bad, but I like
bad
it.
movie.
So yeah, Kroll's terrible, but I like it.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. Well,
um,
like honestly, it's, obsessively, Dune. David Lynch's Dune is a bad version of Dune. I love it.
I'll agree with both of those statements.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a terrible adaptation of Dune for the most part. Like the first 2/3 aren't a terrible adaptation of Dune, but it's just a bad movie.
Yeah, well, it is that. But I grew up with that thing. I loved it. I had the trade paperbacks, and at the time they didn't call them trades. It was like the I gotta say illustrated magazines of the like the movies. But yeah, there's things we think about in our daily lives that are are really guilty pleasures. I mean, I will easily get like you were talking about expose. I will easily get listening to like Queensryche, which aren't really a good band, and I mean they have really good stuff. There's like an album that's really good. After that, it kind of just falls off. But when I think about the music, I start I know it really by heart. It was a huge thing in my teen years. I listened to a lot of it, and honestly, it's there besides a little portion in the middle, it's not really great. And things that came out later were kind of awful. But it's still one of the things like I can go back and listen to it and I can enjoy it. And like I was collecting the remastered things because at a point in the late '90s, early aughts, everyone got remastered versions of their of
Right.
these albums that came out.
That was where
So
they just go in and they make everything louder than it was before.
they do, and they put a couple like songs in the end, like we are gonna need these live songs, like they did Scarborough Fair,
Oh
which I
no.
love that song. I love
Did you
Scarborough
really?
Fair.
Oh no.
Oh, dude, come on.
No. I don't like Simon and Garfunkel. I don't like Simon and Garfunkel at
Dude,
all.
okay, that's why you don't like Fleet Foxes like I do. Okay, I get that. It makes sense. So I love that neo folk. Well, actually, then it would be folk sound, but like a neo folk sound too. But they did like a version of it. It was so melodramatic. It was
No?
kind of cringy melodramatic. I like it, but it's like guilty pleasure of mine, like in that way. I mean, like what things do you have that you have like are there guilty pleasures
See,
besides?
reflexively, I want to say pro wrestling, but I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that answer because I think like I legitimately enjoy pro wrestling, and I think it's
Mhm.
good. And like especially like the wrestling that I usually watch is usually like like good wrestling by wrestling fan standards.
Yeah.
So I don't really like that answer. I have like random like songs like what one of my favorite songs from the 90s, two of my favorite songs from the 90s actually, Steal My Sunshine.
Dude, I was gonna say the same thing.
I love Steal My Sunshine.
Yeah.
I also love How Bizarre by OMC. One of my
God.
I
Okay.
legitimately adore. I think that song is it's great. I know that it's
Yeah.
probably not very good, but like
You know,
I love that song.
honestly, I right there with you on both of those. I love the songs. There's like the song Home. Was it God, what who sings that? Is this huge like group band? It was very like I don't know. Feels very Pacific Northwest.
Was that Toad the Wet Sprocket?
No, it was not Totally the Respect, but I do like them. It was this kind of like hippie band kind of thing going, like it was the 2010s. I'll think about it
I
later.
don't know. I don't know, man. Anything in the 2010s that wasn't like Electric Wizard, I'm totally checked out.
But yeah, those kinds of songs that they're not really good, but it's just really fun to listen to, and there's a lot of that.
I would
Hmm?
I would throw the
Thank
band
you.
MOD in that list. You know who MOD is?
MOD, I know that name.
They were there was a band called SOD. It was Stormtroopers of Death that were
Okay, I don't know
kind of
that one.
like an Anthrax side project. It was a Scotty Ian from Anthrax and some other
Oh,
dudes.
nice.
Um, but anyway, they got this dude Billy Milano, who was like just a dude, a New York metal dude, and like I don't think he was in bands before that, but
Uh-huh.
terrible voice. But they did kind of a joke thing called Stormtroopers of Death, and they did an album called Speak English or Die, and it was every song is like a joke or whatever, and it's like it's funny.
Yeah.
But after that, like after the Anthrax guys and the other Nuclear Assault guys like went back to their bands, it was like Billy Milano was like, well, I want to keep on doing this. So he put a legitimate band together and quote unquote legitimate band, but he kept on doing
Yep.
the same like dumb jokey songs and stuff. And like, but like they were kind of a, like when I was first getting into like punk and thrash, they were kind of
Yeah.
a foundational like band from that era for me. My uncle was a garbage man and found like two of their tapes in the trash and gave them to me once, which is really indicative of the quality of that band that somebody would just throw that stuff away. But I was like, oh, like if you get a chance, check out either Gross Misconduct or Surfin' MOD by MOD,
It is
or even USA for MOD. They're
so
all fun.
there's like a ship of Theseus thing with like SOD to MOD. You replace enough of the band members and they still play the song, same songs. Is it the same band or is it a cover band?
It's,
Uh,
I mean, the MOD songs are like separate from the SOD songs,
okay.
but
Oh, so yeah, actually, my wife is over here at her desk. She's like, that was the song "Home" was by Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros.
oh yeah. Okay, I remember that name. I don't think I ever heard that song because it was one of those things that like anytime I would like somebody would send me a link to that, I was like I just don't have the patience for it, and I would just like
Yeah,
it's 5 seconds into the song and I'm not interested yet, and I'm like I don't like
I
I'm
get
a
that.
very busy man, and I don't have time for that.
Then honestly though, like once again though, talked about like guilty pleasures, man. This episode is one of my guilty pleasures because it is such a it's such a gonzo episode. It is a full on ACOM episode.
We're finally here.
Yeah, we are.
You guys in the Discord have been hyping me up City
Oh
of
my
Steel
god.
for like months, and I've been so excited, and we're finally here. Finally. Oh my god.
I gotta
The
tell you,
Douglas Booth
yes,
pen masterpiece, City of Steel.
this actually is one of those episodes where I know how it has a reputation of being really bad. I had to rewatch it 3 times because I watched it and going like I sat there, I was gonna like make notes, and my wife is she's hanging out there in her room. She's like, "Did you make notes?" I said, "No, I just watched it." It was just I had to sit there and marvel at the ridiculousness of this episode. And it's so good. There's so many scenes in this. You're going, what the hell are they doing? And like
Hey, so
yeah,
in the beginning, the opening crawl, the opening bit, right, with the the montage and the theme song and everything.
yeah.
There's a part where I think it's one of the Insecticons falls into some lava. Have
Mhm.
you ever noticed that lava looks a lot like baked beans?
Is it the like the pattern on the lava?
Yeah. It's
I'll
got
have to
the
look at that
spotty
now. I
pattern,
realize that now. You
and the
said
spots
that.
are lighter than the lava around it, so it looks like it's baked beans
God.
and sauce or whatever.
Well,
So
here we go. Look at that now.
think of that next time you watch a
I
Transformers
always
episode.
watch the intro. But man, so we start off with Laserbeaks flying through New York City. He uses his lasers and he shoots this manhole cover, and somehow the manhole cover like telekinetically moves out of the way. So he
Bro,
flies.
he's not even in New York. This dude somehow got into like Tim Burton's Gotham City from the first Batman movie.
This is 1980s New York, man. This is
which was basically the
it was 19 it was Batman's Gotham, exactly. And he goes like he flies down through the sewers, which
X-wing noises or TIE
dude,
fighter.
yeah, he's complete X-wing noises, 100%. And it's like he's over there with what were the X-Men people who lived into the sewers?
The Morlocks.
The Morlocks. I expected the Morlocks to show up because it was they did so much detail in the sewer. I expected the Morlocks to walk out. But
that wouldn't have been far off the mark.
He shoots this wall and opens this wall with the junk behind it.
That was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You think there'd be like some kind of signal to open the door? He just has to shoot everything.
Yeah, that's not terribly efficient because I feel like things would break after a while, especially if you're like Megatron has to open a door.
She's just cannon at it.
Like Starscream with the null. What's it called? The null cannon. The
null ray. Yeah.
Null ray. Yeah.
Depends on the episode you're watching.
That's a real devastating weapon. You can't open doors with that.
Depends on the usage in the show. Yeah. But man, we are given such a good Constructicon episode. They are bickering. Hook and Scrap are posturing, man. How good they are.
Hook's voice sounds like Trax almost. Like he should have a sweater tied over his shoulders. He sounded very upper crust. He sounded very Harvard here.
He did. He's like, have you seen what I did though? I was so good.
He was so proud of himself, and no one cared.
He was.
Hey, do you know about there's a wrestler named Hook?
No, I didn't actually.
He's just called Hook. Yeah.
Why?
Because his father was the wrestler Taz, who was originally was called the Tasmaniac and shortened his name to just Taz after a while, right? But his whole deal was he's Italian and he's from Red Hook, New York.
Okay,
Red Hook area of New York. So his son is now a wrestler, and he just goes by Hook.
Really good bourbon comes out of Red Hook. It's called Widow Jane.
Oh yeah,
trivia there, yeah.
Which who really hated Red Hook, the Red Hook area of New York? That was H.P. Lovecraft. He was terrified of Italian people.
Well, H.P. Lovecraft was terrified of a lot of.
He was terrified of a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, anyways, a little sidebar. The first batch of Widow Jane bourbon they made, they used the water in New York, and it was so terrible they had to go get water from the Catskills to make the next batch. Yeah. True story.
That's how good the water in Red Hook is. That's how it makes you a hard man.
Is that what it is?
The Tasmaniac, dude. So, what is wrong with Megatron's face in this episode? He looks like Sarah Jessica Parker.
They look like a horse. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he did. They did. He was all stretched out. He looked very much like a horse.
Like I said, this is ACOM, man. Most of the time it's pretty good. Sometimes it's some of these scenes you're going, man, what are they doing?
I don't know. There was...
Yeah, so they have Mixmaster finish the job, and he I was watching this the subtitles. He's like, right, Megatron, but the subtitles say Mega Man.
The subtitles were extremely bad in this, and we're gonna get to more of that later on. They dumped some trash into what's the dump truck's name? Sorry, long haul.
Long haul. Thank you.
Is that
long
right?
Haul, yeah.
No, you're messing with me again. This is like First Aid and Red Alert or whatever. Like
no, it's long haul.
Okay.
There's a Mixmaster, long haul, Hook, Scrapper, Scavenger, and Bone Crusher.
Bone Crusher. Okay. So anyway, so like they just dumped some trash into this dump truck, and he just like. They're like, hey, man, remove this. And he's like, remove, always remove. I didn't come here to be a dump truck. And like,
what
you did?
Yeah, it's your job. That's your union job.
You're constructed specifically for being a
You're the
truck.
demo guy.
Like, God, dude. Oh, God. So, yeah, this was pretty cool, though. I was happy to see the Constructicons doing stuff, even though, like, there was a weird thing where, like, one of them went to transform, and I don't know if this was like some weird artifacting from me watching it on YouTube or something like that, but it was like somehow it like went to like 120 frames per second when he transformed. It looked
no, it did. It totally did.
It looked really weird. It looked almost like this perspective shifted real weird, almost like it was a weird like bit from like a Simpsons episode or something. It was real. It was hard to explain. It was really weird,
Yeah.
and it really threw me for a second.
So yeah, man, we go back to the Autobot base, and there's a news report about the Empire State Building disappearing. So Optimus Prime immediately concludes, well, that's Megatron's work.
He apparently has not read his Marvel comics, because this is the exact plot of Fantastic Four #1 with Mole Man stealing buildings from
same universe in the comics, by the way.
What's that?
Same universe in the comics.
Exactly right. Exactly right. It's like they like, oh hey, the Mole Man did this back in 1963, so I think we can probably do this again. Now it's been 20 years.
That before
22 years. We can recycle the recycle plots now, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And I gotta admit though, they do a shot, kind of a down from the bottom up shot at Optimus Prime, and you see a really nice detail in the Autobots ship, kind of base. There's stalagmites coming down and stuff, or stalactites from the top, yeah. Stalactites, yeah, from the top, mites from the bottom.
Cherubim hang from the ceiling, and seraphim come from the bottom. So they dispatched the team, right? But yeah. I was actually really happy for a second here, because we're kind of back to, like, we've had these like few episodes here where we get all these geeks that I hate. Like we get like, oh god, like the other
Perceptor,
the Perceptor, like the other fire truck, like not Inferno,
Red Alert, Grapple. Grapple and Hoist.
Grapple and Hoist. We get all the safety bots, and we get all these nerds that I hate, that are just worthless characters. And but now we're back to like the classic, like the original launch team here. And this is we're back to like Bumblebee and Ironhide, and like I think Smokescreen was hanging out with them. I think Hound was back, because we hadn't seen Hound really do much in a while. Because for a while they kind of relied on Hound to do a lot of stuff. And
yeah, I mean, actually, we see Hound, Wheeljack, Mirage, Sunstreaker, and Sideswipe on skis. They're driving on skis.
This was cool, but it wasn't like, I really wish they were surfing. It would have been a lot cooler if they were. See, here's my question though. It's like, okay, so we've triangulated over like X amount of episodes here that they're probably somewhere in Oregon or thereabouts, right?
Like that, yeah.
So they had to speed over to New York City, which is like 2,000 and something miles, which is going to take you, like, if you just drive constantly, it's going to take you like. Like I think it's like, if you don't stop and you do 60 miles an hour, I think it's going to take you like 26 hours or something like that to do that. So, but then these other guys are coming like on the water. Like, where are they coming from? What were they doing?
Maybe they're hanging out in the Pearl Harbor base. I don't know. I know that would be the wrong spot.
The Pearl Harbor? What?
Maybe they're hanging out in the British base. I'm sorry, I was trying to think of the globe in my head while I was talking. It was way off. Maybe they're hanging out in Britain. I don't know.
Oh, God, dude, sorry, painting the Santa Maria over here.
They're hanging on the Rock of Gibraltar, man. They decided to come this way. I don't know. They're hanging out in Portugal, hanging out just hanging out with the monks out there. I don't know. They're hanging out like with Elon's dad down in South Africa. I don't know.
No. Like, look, man, I don't have all night to go into that tangent right now, so we have to cut that one off right now. Like, so we're done.
They're hanging out. They're all they're dealing with apartheid, and they decide to leave for all that stuff.
Don't start.
So Sideswipe sees Laserbeak, and he calls him a no good Nikon.
No,
as the subtitles say, you see it?
No, what did they say?
They say a no good Nikon. Apparently, Sideswipe is a Canon man.
I did see that, and we haven't seen the camera robots in a long time, and I just now realized that.
But they do show up in this.
What's that?
They do show up a little bit in this.
It must have been real peripheral then. I didn't.
It was real quick.
I love those guys. Those guys are great. Yeah. So
no good Nikon.
No good Nikon. I shoot on a Nikon, and I call it a no good Nikon often.
Use both.
So like there's like somebody shoots Ironhide, and like he just kind of like seizes up and falls over, and it's some of the worst animation I've ever seen, and I died laughing and had to back it up a few times because it was very funny. So there's a big brawl going on in Central Park.
Yes.
What? No, I guess it's Central Park. Is it Central? Is it in Central Park? But like they're kind of paired up. The Autobots and Decepticons are like paired up, like wrestling with each other. But they pan over, and it looks like they're like doing yoga in the park almost. It was just like this real serene thing.
I gotta jump here back for a second. I love the way Frenzy, Rumble, and Soundwave get him in the park. It's like it is like 1980s Central Park. They're gonna get mugged in the park, and like Frenzy goes out, "Don't you know?" And Rumble goes, "Hanging out in Central Park can be hazardous." And like Soundwave comes out, "To your hell." He starts shooting. That was the best thing. He's like Soundwave's hiding behind a tree.
He was giant. He was so big, and he was hiding behind. He was like, crouching behind this tree. Like, yeah, this was really like the Tick Ninjas or something like that. Like,
They mugged the Autobots in Central Park.
dude, like, so but this real world factors have crept in this episode because that was that was the thing. Yeah, like, you know,
Central Park,
dangerous
man.
thing. Then, so like you're gonna get mugged not just by people but by bad guy robots too. So, yeah, these guys are they're doing Tai Chi in the park, and this was very cool. Optimus Prime actually hits Soundwave with a really nice CEO Nage, which is a judo shoulder throw. And it was very well animated, very well executed. I like that. I was real happy to see that because I got hit with one of those a couple of weeks ago, and buddy, that I landed directly on my shoulder, and it did not feel good. So I can empathize with Soundwave's pain here because it's not a fun move to take.
Yeah, like Ironhide says something like I don't know, someone shoots Ironhide and he goes, "Yeah, what else? Yeah, and who else, Iron Brains?" And like he shoots Ironhide, this way he falls over like a drunk uncle at a barbecue.
It was
bad.
Was just like they had like, oh my god. So yeah, like a lot of this episode reminded me of there was like a Space Ghost Coast to Coast episode a while back where a while back, they're all a while back, but there was one where like Zorak was like taunting everyone and saying how much it cost to animate everything, and he was like, look, he would move his arm and be like, look, $50, look, $50. It's like man, they're not making any separate cells for anything. It's like if somebody's gonna fall over, they're just falling like directly over from like a completely frozen thing. We're just all we're doing is rotating the cell. It's like there's no.
Yeah, it's bad. They're doing my favorite episodes of Space Ghost Coast to Coast is when they're hanging out at the supermarket and there was a gas leak in the studio, and he trips out and like breathing like gas. He goes to the supermarket, look at the produce section. He just have this whole trip because he's been breathing gas all the whole show. Man, it was fantastic. Love that show.
I miss that show so much.
Yeah.
So, oh my god. So we get the worst animation of all time. This is it. This is the worst. So they like the Constructicons like are underground or underneath Central Park, and they like smash like a shovel into the ceiling, and it just collapses the entire thing, which is like 20 feet of earth just collapses. But like Optimus Prime like falls through here, and it's like it was like the thing that I was saying with the single cell. It was like they just like they just panned down, and they were just like every like 4 frames they were just like rotating him or whatever. And he was just like this was awful. This was like Clutch Cargo is like looks better than this. This was terrible. God, this was. But then he falls directly into the dump truck, which I guess
long haul.
I guess he's fine with being a dump truck now. Like, it's not a big deal.
Okay, why did Megatron have one of those like water pressure rockets to disable like the Optimus Prime's motor functions?
I was trying to place what it was, but yeah, it was.
It looked like one of those ones you pump you put water in your rocket, you pump it full of air pressure and shoot up. Yeah, he used one of those and like zapped his like truck grill, his abdomen. Apparently, that kills all his motor functions. That is a bad weakness.
You remember those rockets? Those were grandma toys. Those were toys that your grandma always like either gave you or like she had at her house when you went over there. And then like those kind of toys. You know a real classic grandma toy is that fishing game where like it has like the little fish with snap and you have a little fishing pole and or whatever. Like
Oh
every
yeah.
grandma has that, and every grandma gives that. Like I swear, there was a point where I had 3 of those in the trunk of my car that people had given my kids, and grandmas had given. Like I'm pretty sure the same grandma gave
It's
it.
wholesome, man.
It is. But like I remember my grandma had one when I was a kid. I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And like I played it like 3 times, and I was like, this is awful. I don't ever want to play this again. And
Yeah.
now it's like, dude, this is like 30 years later, and like grandmas are still giving these things away as like it's like that's just a thing. Like
Yeah, they're wholesome games, man.
wholesome games. But yeah, those rockets though, I feel like those are like a real like a
My
cool
my
grandma.
brother loved those a lot when he's younger. We had gotten those a few times, and they're
They
cool
crack.
for
They
like,
crack after like 4 use it like 5 times, and then it's like
yeah,
you can't get any
that's the
pressure
thing.
in it, and it's just it
Yeah,
just leaks out of the
that's
side.
exactly why they're cheap.
Yeah.
But he uses one of those and like zaps Optimus Prime's abdomen and kills all motor functions. So
Welcome
that's
to suspended animation.
yeah.
He says
It's like,
that was a buzzword in the 80s though. You remember suspended animation was the thing.
yeah.
Like I had someone tell me one time when I was a kid that if you take a cold shower before you go to bed, you sleep better because it's basically like it's almost like suspended animation.
No, you're just cold.
You're just cold, yeah.
That's not suspended animation. It's not the same thing.
Because he was like, yeah. See, what happens is it slows your body functions down, so
No,
you
it doesn't.
sleep. It's like I don't know, man. Look, I didn't make it up. I was just told that when I was like
You,
11.
you lose blood in your extremities. You're
You probably
no.
sleep a little better. I don't know. I mean, like
It's okay. This is
I
one of
don't know,
those.
man. Like I'm just telling you what a dude told me. Okay.
So I gotta say, like, my dear wife for my birthday, she knows I miss having a pool. So she got me this like little blow up, like family pool kind of thing. Like there's like 18 inches tall. I
Oh
put
no.
like pool water in the thing. I'm sitting there having a drink. This is nice, but it's cold because it's pool water.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like my feet or my legs are numb. I'm like, this is all right. But after a while, your feet and your legs don't feel like cold anymore because they're numb.
Right.
That's what the cold shower does. By the way, the thing's fantastic, and I love it.
But how do you sleep after you sit in it for a couple hours? You sleep good? You sleep well?
Yeah, because it's warm
See,
under the covers.
I told you. See, maybe it worked. Maybe there's some magic to it.
No, it doesn't shut down your functions. You're just warming under the covers, man. Not the same thing. It's not at all the same thing. It's way off.
Listeners, if you know anything about the science behind cold showers making you sleep better, please Edhatestransformers at gmail.com.
He's really able us about this.
So so on the there's a subtitle glitch here where anytime someone is screaming, the subtitles just say applause. So it's just applause.
Yes, happens a couple times this episode.
The entire episode. This is so good.
Megatron flies out and tells the Autobots they've ever seen the leader again, they'll leave now. And the subtitles go away and it just says applause.
Dude, but the subtitles this is the best bit of subtitles since the Barbarian. Since I can't remember what he said, but the Barbarian. It says, and I backed this up a couple of times to figure out what he was actually saying, and I still don't know what he's saying. Fear One mini can power milk Optimus Prime down for paper clips.
I saw the same thing. I forgot until now. I thought like, man, I'm just going off on these subtitles. I gotta go move on.
Power milk.
Oh my
mini can power milk. What I got the gist that like, okay, if you mess with us again, we're gonna melt him down for paper clips. That was the gist, but I still don't know what he actually said.
I was like, I gotta move on with this episode. I can't keep typing every subtitle. God, I remember that one.
Power milk. What is that? Like instant breakfast. Remember instant breakfast?
Oh yes, Carnation instant breakfast.
Yeah. But my friend really hated that stuff because he said that instant breakfast would it should mean that you just do something and then like there's like bacon and stuff and like eggs, but he just called it instant drink. He was really really angry that it was called instant breakfast.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Autobots are all stuck in traffic. They're evacuating New York because the Decepticons keep I guess they keep stealing buildings. I don't know. They put up a new headquarters. They put up a new purple headquarters, and that's pretty cool because Decepticon stuff is purple. Bad guys.
Yeah, you always know it's Decepticon because they put up purple metal.
Purple metal. Yeah.
Purple metal. Yeah, all the time. And Autobots use orange metal. I don't know why.
The Autobots are like they're stuck in traffic on like I guess what's supposed to be the Brooklyn Bridge. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't. There's probably 14 bridges that look just like it in New York. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not from New York, so if I'm wrong, Edhatestransformers@gmail.com. Educate me on the proper the Verrazano Bridge. I don't know. But why are they stuck in traffic? They can just transform and like fly over this thing or walk.
No, they're Autobots. You can't fly, man. What are you doing?
They can fly when they need to fly. But they can just walk through traffic. They can just transform and let's walk.
Okay, I can ask real quick. So you've been inside an old VW bug, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So do VW bugs have roll bars inside, like Bumblebee has?
I mean, I guess you could if you had like a Baja bug, you could like install them or whatever. But
yeah, he has this like wide banded roll bar inside the middle of it. Because everything else is pink. He's got pink interior, like all pink, and it's like a weird roll bar. But anyways,
I don't know. Maybe it's. I mean, he knows he's gonna get. I mean, because he's like Spike's like main like transportation. So and he knows that things are probably going to go south. So it's probably not a bad idea to have that there, you know.
Honestly, man, they're not going to do that for Spike. They put Spike in danger all the time.
They shoot at him all the yeah, you're right. They haven't shot at him in a while though. It's been a few episodes since he's gotten shot at.
Yeah, we'll give some time.
So, but speaking of them being stuck in traffic,
yeah,
so they're stuck in traffic, and Spike, very poorly animated Spike, if I may add. Yeah. He's almost like he's like breakdancing and sitting in the passenger seat. Yeah, it does. But he gets an idea because he's like talking on like a communicator. And he gets an idea and he's all like, "Hey, Bumblebee, take a left." And what happens right after that? They exit right off the bridge.
Hey, this exit, or is it? I don't know. Or something like that. Yeah, they take an exit off the bridge though.
They turn right to go take a left. Okay, I'm gonna turn right.
Yeah, I mean, like, why is no one else taking this exit? I guess maybe it's not leading on New York City. I don't know.
I mean, I think it like I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it you know it's like an off ramp that goes back to where they're going. But he said take a left, and he clearly exited to the right.
Look, Spike's not shit. He's not a brainchild. His dad worked on oil tankers.
I'm sick of the immersion breaking from this. All right, this is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. This broke it for you right here. This is the fourth wall breakage,
dude. So the Constructicons transform again, and they went up to 120 frames per second. I'm like it's like it's like when you go to your aunt's house and she's got the TV. She didn't turn motion blurring off on the TV, and it looks terrible, and you know everything looks like a video game. So they go to disassemble Optimus Prime, and one of the Constructicons pulls out
a lightsaber. Hook does.
Hook.
Like, I love that he goes, Hook. Megatron says, Hook disassemble him once, and he says, with finesse and pleasure. He pulls out a lightsaber.
I
love
this was 86. Was 86? Is that when this came out?
This was probably like it's probably animated at 84.
84, really?
It's probably animated 84. Probably came out like 84, 85, something like that.
Okay. Because like what I was gonna Star Wars was dead.
Oh yeah.
At this point. Like Star Wars was like in the ground at this point. Like you know, I know that they tried to do those Power of the Force figures, like the in like 84, 85, they tried to do the Power of the Force where it was like other figures and all that stuff, and like
the Droids cartoon came out around then too.
The Droids cartoon was a thing, but nobody cared. Like everybody had moved on to G.I. Joe and Transformers.
You know, with figures with like actual bendable arms and stuff.
Yeah, like nobody cared about Star Wars, and this was kind of a weird like I don't know, it was kind of a weird little thing to put in there, and but it was almost like the way the lightsaber was animated, it looked almost less like a lightsaber and more like Thundar the Barbarian's sword.
And it did actually,
because his was real like jagged on the edges, and I like that show. I like that show a lot. But
Thundar is kind of neat. It gets one of those things where it's post-apocalyptic, you know, barbarian stuff, really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I mean, it was obviously a Star Wars riff. You know, we had like a
oh yeah,
that hung out with
Ukla the Muck.
Yeah, that was a fun show though. But yeah, I mean, did you still interact with Star Wars at this point?
At this point, no, not at all. I mean, when I was growing up, I mean, you were like you're like a couple years older than I am.
Mhm.
And growing up, my brother was huge in Star Wars because he is about 6.5 years older than I am.
Okay.
So I got kind of on the tail end of it. Like I got into like Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi was big for me. But then like I watching like Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff, and then you moved on, and like I went on to like Master of the Universe, and then like GI Joe and Transformers. So I got on the tail end of Star Wars. It was really important to me because we watched it like crazy. I watched Empire like over and over again at one
Yeah.
point. But yeah, it was never something that was really, really, really vital in my childhood.
Mhm.
So yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, I mean, like, so, yeah, it was just huge. It was that was like everything for
yeah,
like a lot of kids. And then but then it was like after Return of the Jedi, like
83.
because like yeah, I mean, movies played a lot longer back then. Movies were in the theater for like a year,
Yeah,
and but yeah, it was like once it was gone, it was like there was that weird kind of like haze where it was like figures were still out and you still get toys and all this stuff and like still played with it, but it was like once it was like after like a year, it was just like hey guy, that's it. Like here's a couple of, here's Ewoks and the droids cartoons, but even those were like, I don't know. And like even
yeah.
the books then were like, I mean, every now and then they come up with a book that would be like and then because I mean it was basically like dead and buried until like
I
Timothy
think
Zahn's books came out
yeah.
in, was it
Actually,
91 when
my
this came out
brother,
or something like
yeah, my brother actually was in the Air Force at one point,
that?
and he went out over to Germany and stuff, and then he came back and he brought all his stuff back with him, and he had the three Timothy Zahn books, and I devoured those. They're great. And then I started reading like the other books.
Are they though?
They were actually what I wanted at the time. Okay, well, we'll go from there. I started like looking at a lot of the comics and stuff that are coming out. I try, dude. I used to collect the Star Wars comic books, and those were odd.
Which one? The Marvel ones or the Dark Horse ones?
No, the Marvel ones.
Okay, yeah, those were a lot of fun. I
They
liked a lot
were.
of those because they were just like a lot of like space dudes going on space adventures, and I
Oh
like,
yeah,
hey,
100%.
we're gonna hang out with a big green rabbit for 20
Yeah, kind of yeah.
I'm like, okay, this guy's pretty cool. I'm okay with this
Yeah.
guy.
So I like that. Those were like my childhood. Those were my comic books. I read a lot of those, and then like years later, I read some of the Dark Horse stuff, and the Dark Horse stuff is okay. It's kind of hit or miss for me. So like I never got into like the what was it, the one where Luke goes evil, dark side or whatever.
Oh, yeah, like Dark Empire and all
Dark
that.
Empire, yeah.
Yeah. I tried to read those. I really hated the art in those because it was all like everything was real bleak and all that. I
Yeah.
didn't really care for the all these
But
like tone on tone like monocolor panels with like tone on tone. It was like just tone variants and stuff. I didn't care for it. But what I did
so
care for though is that in the next scene here we've got some of the Autobots are walking around the sewer, and buddy, they repurposed Optimus Prime's parts and made a robot alligator. And
okay,
man,
before we get to that, did you remember how like Megatron had Optimus Prime's head, and he was like, I will, not give in. I'll fight you to the end. And he uses Aquaman's like concentric like circle waves and controls his arms. He pulls on Mantrid from Lex and Gray, like these like arms, and flips Megatron over.
dude, it was like idle hands. This was so cool. Yeah, it's like his face, his disembodied arms were floating up and wrestling with Megatron. This was really cool. We got real mad and made the Constructicons get rid of all the parts. And what do? They took all the parts and they made a robot
Alligator.
alligator. I really for a second I didn't realize what it was, and I thought this was like a new Decepticon. I was like, this is a guy I've never even heard of this guy.
With
So
those
like,
this blue, gray, and red colors.
this is great. Well, because it was almost like the color scheme was almost like the Thunder Machine from GI Joe,
Close, yeah.
which was
But,
like
okay,
that kind of dark blue and red.
so okay, this is one of those real world factors creeping into this. During this time, do you remember how big the movie Alligator was?
The movie Alligator? I've never heard of the movie Alligator.
Where they
But I
like
mean, I'm familiar with the concept, with the urban myth and the concept of like alligators living in the sewers in New
yeah,
York.
there was a
At some
movie.
point, the story I think at some point is that somebody came to Florida, because blame it on Florida every time, and sure, yeah, and they got they bought a baby alligator from a gas station, which, as a dude that has been all over Florida and on my entire life, that's not out of the realm of possibility. But they took it up to back to New York, and they were like, it was getting bigger, and they're, as alligators do, because
down the toilet.
They flushed it down the toilet,
Yeah.
and it lived and went into the sewers, and it grew, and
Yeah.
somehow I don't know how, but it multiplied, and so that there are alligators living in the sewer.
It was a movie from 1980. I had to look it up real quick. Yeah, it was called Alligator.
It's just called Alligator.
It's called Alligator.
That's the best they can do.
Yeah, dude, it's 1980. Come on. They basically, a kid like that, the dad flushes an alligator down the toilet because it's getting too big, and I guess he was trying to show the kid, whatever. And so yeah, that was I remember from my childhood, that was a big thing. Like that movie was like, if people talked about like alligators in the sewers, and you were afraid something was going to come out the toilet after you. So this was actually one of those real world factors from pop culture. I'm surprised you don't remember this at all.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I remember like Piranha and
yes, yeah.
I love Piranha. But yeah, no, I don't remember a movie just called Alligator. I mean, I feel like they could have done way better with a like a sewer gator. I mean, I don't know. That sounds a little.
Well, come on, like I guess they could like call it alligator. I don't know.
I see, that just sounds like some of those modern.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's
exploitation.
The point, man. Films. You don't need to have anything else. You can have alligator. That's all you need. Alligator. It's a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I was totally into this thing though. This is so he's just repurposed Optimus Prime parts into a robot alligator. I'm totally down. This is really cool. So we cut over to like the Constructicons are like tearing up some streets, and they're tearing some stuff down, and so like Skywarp picks up a car and just like
he stuffs the car in Mixmaster. So you can do Mixmaster.
Like he's like a wood chipper. Like this is like Fargo, and he's getting rid of like a body or something, and then that was basically it. They didn't really go anywhere with that. It was
so you choose this red car. That's actually where Reflector had a cameo. He was like, you see Starscream's on top of the building he's like on this cannon or something on top of this building. And he's like, he says something to Reflector, and Reflector's like running around. That's the only time you see him. But yeah, he was in there for that split second. So Ratchet and Hound find Optimus Prime's head.
And hold on, before they find it though.
Okay.
They're scanning the sewers and they're looking for him. And so they say, one of them says that it's 10 mechanometers away. Like they're honing in on him. He's 10 mechanometers away. I don't know how long a mechanometer is, but the subtitles say megameters.
I saw that,
10 megameters. He's 10 megameters away, which the prefix mega meaning
big.
1 million, like a megabyte.
It is 1 million
bytes. So it would be 10 million meters, somewhere within 10 million meters.
He is out there in space somewhere.
He's somewhere out there. All right.
Yeah.
Right now, your keys are in this room. Right now, you're very cold. That's all I'm giving. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. So they find his head, and we get this it's like Reanimator, where they're just carrying this disembodied head around. And
Ratchet connects a couple wires on his neck. It is like, oh, thank you. I can feel my legs are nearby.
He's just like broadcasting and like scanning for his parts.
It's like Aquaman thing again. He's like, whoa.
Dude, they put him back. They put him all back together, and of course this episode is full of puns. It was so many I had to stop keeping track of them. He was like, thanks for helping me pull myself together.
He's giving this Mirage this like weird like left armed hug.
He gave him the Christian side hug.
He really was. Oh my god.
But he's missing his right arm, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, what's gonna happen here? Oh my god. Okay, so before we get to this, hold on, I've got an antic here. All right, so god, so in Warhammer, orcs. I played orcs for a long time in Warhammer, and orcs in Warhammer 40,000 are like these like Mad Max, like soccer hooligans basically. And it's what's fun with them is that, you know, you can use the orc vehicles, or they can, for a long time they had rules for looted vehicles where you could just take a vehicle from any other faction. You could take like a Space Marine tank and put orc stuff all over it, and that's a looted vehicle. That's very cool. But so when you buy like a box of orc boys, BOYZ, which is their rank and file troops, dudes. So you can assemble them one of two ways. You can either assemble them with, you know, like them with basically a rifle, which is called a Shoota.
That's right.
They're Cockney. They have Cockney accent. A Shoota, which is, you know, like a rifle basically with, you know, they hold with two hands. So you get two arms on the kit. You get a left arm with an empty hand, and you get a right arm with a rifle, right? Or the other configuration, which is how everyone assembles them, is with a slugga, which is a pistol in one hand, and a choppa, the iconic orc weapon, a giant axe or a chain sword or a chainsaw axe or something like that, right? So basically every orc player on the face of the earth has like extra parts of just like arms with shootas. So you have tons of. So a very common thing to do would be to get, like, you know, you'd find somebody that had like an old like Space Marine tank, or an old like Space Elf tank or something like that, and you would just like cut up pieces of plastic and put armor plating all over it or whatever. But a very common thing to do, and that I would do a lot to make it look like there was like a bunch of orcs inside of this thing, like hanging out, and we would like take a hobby knife and like gouge a hole in there in the side of the plate, armor plating, and you would just glue one of those Shoota arms like hanging out. So it would be like there's just like this random arm sticking out of the side of a tank, like shooting like a rifle or whatever. And
like a space
good God, the Decepticons did this exact thing here where they took Megatron's arm and they just
grabbed Prime's
it
arm
on top of the building. Dude, they took his right arm with the Optimus Prime rifle, the most powerful weapon in all of Transformers. So this. It's like there's a hole in the top of the tower.
It's like just controlling it like this.
They've got a remote control Optimus Prime arm. They've got a boy Shoota. This is the most orc thing of all time in Transformers.
Oh God,
and dude, I had to stop this, and I probably stopped and laughed at this for probably 5 solid minutes. I
can see this. I've been listening to those Horus Heresy Audible books, more like Fallen Gods, and I love how they talk about the green skin, so like they're just like, God, those guys, they hate the orcs so much.
They're the best. They are the best. So, yeah, that's so orcs, and to add on even more comedy, and orcs have a philosophy that the orcs never lose, because either they win or they get killed, and they weren't there to lose. Which I'm like, okay, I like that. So yeah, they're very fun. Yeah, dude. So yeah, dude. So there's just this arm. There's Optimus Prime arm, just like flailing around on the top of this tower. And they're taking pot shots, and like, like Starscream and Megatron are just like, they're having the time of their life, like remote control on this thing. They've got like I guess like that ball from Missile Command in there. They're like,
I was gonna say that this little console. They're like, oh, look at them go, look at them go, look at them go. And they're just firing on the Autobots, and like I love how Optimus Prime has to tell them, Autobots, scatter and transform. Like, you don't have to tell them to do everything. You really don't.
Dude, he has to issue the command like every episode.
One of my favorite things from this episode, though, is Frenzy driving a subway car. He looks so happy. He's like, yeah.
Dude, I want that on like an album cover or something. That's a total like 80s thrash metal cover. Like, I loved it. It was so funny.
He's driving the subway car, and I think it's Blue Streak and maybe it's Hound. I don't remember exactly. They're shooting this subway car until it finally blows up, and he flies out from the subway car.
It was so good. It was so good. So now we've got some 3 of the Autobots like racing around, but a bunch of taxi cabs come up behind them, and like the taxi cab thing opens, like the sign on the top opens up, and laser cannons come out. And they call them, and I was just about to make the joke, but then they called them Decepticabs, and it was like, man, God, you're ruining my joke on my dumb podcast 30 years after this thing came out.
Yep.
40 years after this came out, man.
That's
Give me something here. This was cool, and please tell me that some third party company has made the Decepticab.
I don't think so. But that's probably something you could easily do.
Oh my god.
And this is like Giuliani's New York, man. He just they get like they get militant cabbies. And okay, how do they deal with the cabs? Sideswipe, Sunstreaker, and Bumblebee. They just do this whole thing where they go, we'll jump over them, and they don't. There's no ramp. They just like go up.
They just gently.
There's no ramp at all. They just
gently like
jump over
James Bond.
They jump over them like you think you're jumping on a BMX on a little ramp.
That's pretty, but with no ramp. It was
no ramp though, and Optimus Prime transforms with his missing arm. I kind of like that. They actually made sure that I expect them to have this like, well, they're just gonna like fudge it and have
the truck, but no, they left the part off, which is probably pretty close to a bunch of kids broken Optimus Primes after they broke the arm off. Anyway,
can confirm, yes.
Yeah.
He runs and like rams through the cabs.
But then like there was a thing, I don't know what this was. It was like the Constructicons had like a turret or something, like a bunker that kind of jutted out or whatever, and like
it's like they had like little turret guns like on the bottom of the base.
I don't know what it was, but then one of them goes Autobots, and then Optimus Prime just crashed into him and took him out. He just plowed through him and took him out. So they decide they're gonna that Optimus Prime and his crack squad of commandos here are going to scale the tower to get his arm back, and so I guess his broadcasting to control his parts only short range, which is okay. I get that, but so they start climbing up this thing, and Soundwave and Megatron are inside of the control panel at the villain screen, and they're like, oh, they're out of range of the cannon, like they just got closer to it, dude. They're climbing towards it.
I kind of assumed they were like they're out of at an angle they couldn't get to them. You know,
they're out of the arc. They're out of the firing arc.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I get. But you'd think that maybe if you're gonna make a giant tower, that maybe you would have some defenses besides the stolen arm off of the leader of your enemies. Maybe some other laser cannons. I think they can make them.
Well, they apparently had like cannons on the bottom of the building.
They had those, yeah, exactly.
But they Starscream's up
what they do.
Like, cannon on the side of the building, but that was it.
Well, I mean, I guess they were only planning for cars coming at them, I guess.
Yeah, smooth purple metal, man, aesthetically pleasing.
Well, yeah, it was very Zentradi looking almost. It was
actually was, yeah, very very. The SDF one before, except instead of being green, it was purple.
Right. So they send the Seekers out to do an aerial attack, and this was that's a good idea. That's a shoot them off of the tower. But so they fly at it's like Optimus Prime and like Ironhide. I think a couple other like Jazz maybe is there. And so the three Seekers, the classic Seekers, come flying like barreling at them. They're shooting at them or whatever. And what do they do then after they take all these shots? They just keep. They don't break off. They don't pull up. They don't do any of these things that I've learned from watching Iron Eagle 700 times. They just keep going and they crash directly through the walls into the headquarters. What was the point of that?
I was wondering the same. I thought I missed something.
Dude, they just crashed into it. Like,
but
this was
well, we get into Devastator.
Oh, not quite. There's one thing before Devastator though. Sideswipe decides he wants to he's gonna take out Starscream. So he transforms and flies up in the air. You said earlier in this episode you were like, Autobots can't fly. He flew. He jumped and flew.
There is an exception here because he classically has a jetpack.
Oh, okay. All right. So but he pulls some top notch jujitsu and takes Starscream's back, and he goes for the seatbelt. This was good.
Jet jitsu.
What's that? Jet jitsu.
You were in that one episode with had jet jitsu.
Yeah. And then he crashed him into the water, and that was really good. That was real cool. I'm a big fan of
say uncle, and Starscream goes uncle,
and it's like, and then somebody makes the crack. I didn't know Decepticons had uncles.
Yeah.
You guys.
Now we get to Devaster.
But then we get Devaster. And he finally does stuff though. I was here for it. I was so excited about this.
He goes full King Kong.
But he does the episode goes full King Kong also.
It does.
So yeah, he's climbing up he grabs Optimus Prime, he's climbing up the thing, and then it was Jazz, I think, was or Wheeljack, I think.
Wheeljack.
He got 2 helicopters. I guess he slaved them to.
I saw this one time in a thing. He connected to a data terminal, basically say like I want solid King Kong and I want to make it work. So he like radio controls helicopters.
And he's gonna shoot him like in King Kong, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I do like that. So Devastor. Like shoots him down or whatever, and then he's like, well, it didn't work, and then whoever was hanging out with him was like, well, maybe he saw that picture too. And
yeah, Ratchet goes, oh, don't worry, I think he probably saw that picture too.
How old are you that you're calling a movie a picture? Like these guys are like 100 years old.
He's 4 million years old, man. Come on.
Oh yeah, they are 4 million. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I made the note. Wheeljack is once again bad at his job.
He goes back and forth, man. There's a part where Megatron, somebody insulted Megatron inside of the headquarters, and he got mad that he got insulted inside of his own headquarters. He wasn't mad that Autobots were in there. He was mad that someone insulted him in his own headquarters. Don't you ever disrespect Megatron like that.
Shoots everything. He goes full Grimlock inside the Ark. He shoots everything, including the console where they control the arm.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this great scene where he's having a freak out moment. And Ironhide and Ratchet are down there on the floor below. Like they came in through the wall. I guess Devaster knocked him in. So they look like each other like, hey, he's right there. So they go in and shoot the floor out. Him and Soundwave fall through the floor.
There was a lot of floor blowing up and people falling. I probably missed 7 instances of it in this recap, but dude, oh my god,
that was the best thing ever. They're like, they give each other a lot, like, yeah, good job, man,
dude. So yeah, so the Decepticons just fly off. They realize they're defeated. They just fly off, and the Autobots like drive towards the camera, and the last thing we see is Bumblebee with an "I love New York" bumper sticker.
Yes,
which I think was a newer campaign around that point.
It was, I think, yeah.
I mean, I don't think, because it's one of those things that like in our brains, it's always been there. That's just always been like a cliche and like a thing. But I think that was like an actual like marketing thing, around that. I'm not sure when that was.
Very Ghostbusters era New York.
That's accurate.
I love it. There's a scene though, like at the end where he I think Ratchet reattaches his right arm. He's like He's like, well, Optimus, he's like, just like it always was, just like the rest of New York City. Like, what, janky and squeaky?
Falling apart and riddled with crime? Like, what? Yeah, maybe his arm is like from Idle Hands. Was it Idle Hands? Was that the one I'm thinking of? Idle Hands, the one where the dude gets a hand transplant from a serial killer and it turns him into a serial killer.
I think
you know the movie I'm talking about.
I did the movie Idle Hands. I don't remember exactly. Like he got possessed.
I think that was Idle Hands. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
I know that Tim or Boo will correct me within minutes on after this drops on Discord. Thank you guys for being keepers of knowledge. So dude, this was, oh my god, this is possibly the hardest episode of all time to rate. I don't know. I don't even know where to start with this. This was like I can't even do it justice. I don't feel like even the recap did this episode justice. I feel like there were too many bizarre things and weird things and bad things going on at one time to even keep track of. It was like watching like a beautiful train wreck. I can't dude, so I mean, Kid Brain, like, I mean, it's got Devastator, it's got Devastor, and that's automatically cool, but you're just constantly getting bombarded with all this weird stuff and people like falling in holes constantly. So Kid Brain's gonna have to I mean it was entertaining. to a kid brain. So I would probably have to go 3.5. Oh God. Man, 3.5 megameters out of 5. Adult brain, on the other hand. Oh my God. Adult brain, on the other hand, is like this was just like, what am I watching? What like this is it's the worst animation I've seen in a very, very long time. My son's very big into anime right now, so, and he watches a lot of modern anime, and like modern anime, it like for all of its faults, like I can't get into a lot of it, but like it's very well animated, so I'm used to a high standard of animation these days. But this was just awful, and I forgot how I tend to forget how bad a lot of that farmed out animation how bad how bad that was. Oh God. So but I mean it was just so gonzo, and there was just so much weird stuff going on, and it was funny, and I was just dying laughing, and these terrible puns. So I'm this is the most unprecedented thing that I've ever done in the history of rating this show, that I'm going to have to simultaneously give this episode -5 shoulder throws, -5 judo Sioa nages out of 5, but I'm also giving this one a perfect score of 5, mind you, 5 TV moms. 5 80s TV moms out of 5. I can't. It's the best and the worst episode of the show of all time, and I love it and I hate it, and I wish that I had watched this episode 3 times also, and I feel like I needed to take this in more, and I'm very motivated now to go and cut some orc arms off and glue them onto random trucks, and like it's awesome sewer scene, and I'm on a big like Ninja Turtles kick lately, and I just wanted to see like a turtle head pop up and do some stuff, even though they weren't around at this point. But God,
It's an
like
appropriate reaction. Yeah.
you guys, you guys built this this episode up, and it absolutely did not fall short of any expectations on any level. Yeah, I don't know, man. What do you?
This is the epitome of fantastic 80s animation. The weird gonzo plot lines, they don't make any sense. You have to just say, just like, man, I'm just going to enjoy this ride. And I remember as kid brain, I didn't like this at all. As an adult, man, I love this thing. I don't watch all the episodes all the time. I know some people probably do. I don't. I haven't watched this probably a good decade. But I went back and watched this, and I told you, I sat there and I was ready to type out notes, and I watched it, and I realized I had to turn and just watch the cascade of just ridiculous crap happening.
It just has to wash over you, man. Like
So yeah, I told my wife I was going to bed, and she's like, "Did you get any notes?" And I'm like, "No, I just watched it." She's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I just had to sit there and watch it. It was just that good."
I don't know
And
what
then,
more to add to it. I mean,
yeah,
I feel like this more than
no
any
notes.
episode of this show. I feel like this like deserves like a live like watch along. Like,
It does.
I feel like we should like literally just like invite everyone from Discord to like to like a live meeting, and just
Oh,
to just stream this episode, because it's just it's such a spectacle.
like a
And it's
watch party.
yeah, I mean yeah, if you guys want to, yeah, if anyone out there wants to do that, please let us know. We'd love to.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
honestly, the everything about this is fantastic. There are so many little parts of this I didn't appreciate before. I've watched now, and even go back and watch the subtitles. The subtitles even make this better.
Dude, the subtitles
Um,
in hand. This is one of the few times the subtitles
applause.
applause.
So yeah, man, I got to give this. I got to give this thing, like, to me, it was so bad it was good. It was like watching a really good like B movie. It was like I got to give this thing, man. I've got to give it 4 I Love New York bumper stickers out of 5. It's so good, and yet it was so bad. You just have to go like, man, sure, they can make an alligator out of Optimus Prime. Sure, man,
Yeah,
whatever, that works. It works.
yeah.
Yeah, they can have a turret as his arm with a cannon on it. Man, whatever, that works. That makes sense. So then no notes. This is perfect the way it is.
No
This
notes.
episode is one of those episodes gets a lot of flack over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I see why. I mean, honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
I see like if you're going into this like wanting like a like a
Serious.
serious
Yeah.
like Transformers experience, this is not the episode for that. But like, it's just a like I'm gonna watch like this like
This
like
this is like this is season 2 in a nutshell.
like
It's just
why can't every episode be this? Like, dude, if every episode was this, I like
some of them
God,
are going to be like this, man. This is one of
please,
the
like, oh my, like
classic
what's
weird.
next? Like
Yo,
what like
the Desertion of the Dinobots 1 and 2.
uh okay, all right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not gonna ruin anything there. So yeah, we're gonna go there at this point. Guys, if you like it, check out the Discord. Link will be in the show notes. Email more than meets these guys at Gmail or Edhatestransformers at gmail.com. And come hang out with us, talk with us. We usually we have a bunch of people in the Discord who like constantly add stuff. We have a lot of good things going on. Boo from the Axel Underground is in there. He does a lot as well. We do a lot of extra things from the creation of the episodes. There's been a lot of storyboards from the original stuff. A lot of things posted. A lot of really cool little add-ons. So I'm gonna leave it there. Um, Anything to take us out with this?
I came into this episode kind of flat-footed, and I didn't look up any
Okay.
quotes again this time. This is twice in a row, so I will just reiterate what I said last week, which is go play Warhammer 40,000.
Get yourself some shooters.
Or yeah, build some slugger boys
It's like a
on a truck. TRUK. Or you know what? Read the Horus Heresy. Read Eisenhorn. Read I don't know. Watch the Space Marine animation on YouTube. It's good.
Oh, really? I didn't check that out.
It's
If you
very
actually want to listen to some really good audiobooks, the guy doing the readings for the Horus Heresy, it's fantastic. He does a great job. One of my favorite voices on there is him doing Garville, Logan.
Who does the anime the reading? Is that
I'll figure it out. I know that I've heard the name. I can reiterate the name. I can't think of who it is. It's not no one really like famous, but he does such a good job, especially when he
I have listened to those. Yeah, I have listened to those in the past, and they are very good. I've actually listened to those. I've read that. I think I've read that those first three. Because the first three are like are the best ones, and it makes a really like an almost self-contained little trilogy. And the first three are very good. They're all three written by three different writers, which were kind of the three.
Dan Abnett does the first one.
Dan Abnett does the first one. I think Ben Counter does one, and Graham McNeil, I think that's the third one.
The Graham McNeil's, I think the second one. I don't know. I'll look
Then
at
it's Graham McNeil and then Ben Counter. Then,
Yeah.
but Dan Abnett is the best writer working for Games Workshop, and anything that he does is very good. Yeah, he did the Eisenhorn and the Ravener books, and those are both those are the best Warhammer books. He did a really good series on the Imperial Guard, who are kind of like the army. And it just kind of follows this one regiment of they gradually get whittled down over the to the point where it's basically just like a squad, like a like a leader in a squad, and their kind of adventures they get into. Very good. They're basically, if you're familiar with the Sharp books, like Sharp's Tigers and Sharp's whatever, that Bernard Cornwell, they're basically like these Napoleonic novels. They're kind of like those like Master and Commander books, but set with like the army instead of the navy. They're basically those set in the Warhammer world. Is the best way.
The Horse Heresy books, the squads, they all work together and stuff. Can't think of the little fraternity, the leaders they have the anyways, it kind of reminds me of if people like the Clone Wars cartoon, following the squad around, how they kind of same feel.
Yeah, the Mournival is what they're called.
Mournival, yes, thank you, the Mournival. They advise Horus. So yeah, fantastic. Anyways, we go off on a tangent here. So Guys, thanks for listening today. And if he doesn't have a quote, I'll leave you this. Look at the episode, think of Frenzy driving a subway car, and that's how I'll end it. Y'all have a fantastic week. Thanks so much for being here. Take it easy.
Roll out.
More Than Mises Guys is performed by Evan Johns and Ed Strickland. Research is performed by Evan Johns, Ed Strickland, and with special research done by Boo of the AxelonUnderground.net. All used images in the videos are property of Sunbow, Hasbro, Paramount, or Marvel. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in every week with us. We appreciate it.